Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is time for another live stream. Today is Friday, October 16th, 2020, 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. Glad to be here, guys. Glad to see you, everybody. We've made it to the end of the week, and it is a good end to the week. Right now, though, it is crazy windy in Iowa. It's been windy a lot lately, but like right now, like I'm looking out the window, and the trees are all just like going insane because the wind is whipping through so fast. So I'm glad that I got my run in already this morning. It looks like some of you got some running to do later tonight. Got some long runs coming up. Looks like Frank's got a long run coming up tonight. Awesome. Ines is here. Had a nice run along the river after work already with Pip. Very cool. David Prabhu's here. Chris Yao's here, everyone. He's been glued to an office chair all day. That's all right. That's okay. Larry Lawrence says he's hello, coming in from Central Florida. Really cool. Awesome. And he says, at 71 degrees, winter is here. Oh man, today it was cold out here. I think it might not have been the first frost of the year, but it's one of the frostier mornings that we've had. My mother-in-law has like a glass top table out on the deck. And when I went out there that morning, there was lots of little speckles of frost all over it. And it was maybe the second or the third time that the deck itself, my father-in-law put this like synthetic type of material down, super long lasting, looks great, feels great. But when there's frost on it, it's super slick and definitely felt a little bit slippery out there today. So it was my first time so far, like this season, running in like a winter hat. So, and it didn't feel like overkill, I'll tell you that. So it was pretty chilly over here. Let's see. Martha says, I bet Pip doesn't pull rather than just runs her master's pace. Yeah, that's because Pip's probably a very, very well-trained dog. I would probably guess the same thing. The last couple of days for recess around here, my girls have been wanting to let the dogs out. And so normally we kind of keep them separated, like unless they're going on a walk, we'll do that's when we'll have both of them out. But like if we do let them out and kind of like run around the yard off leash, we only do one at a time. Today I did both of them off leash and we paid a little bit of fetch. One dog is much bigger than my mother-in-law's dog is a Labradoodle. Mine is a French Bulldog mix. So it's like a giant dog and a tiny dog, or a smallish dog. And my dog's a lot older. He's 12. So he would kind of like, they would both run out. The big dog would go get the little football thing that I was throwing. And then once my dog saw that the other dog had gotten the thing, he would turn around. So that way he would arrive back at me at the same time as the other dog. So it was pretty funny to watch the two get out there, but it was fun. But there was times when I was like running around the yard too, and the dogs would follow me, and that big dog would just kind of basically like almost knock me over as she ran, just because she was just so excited. So like she doesn't have, she's 7 years old, but she still has like no body awareness. So she would just like bump into me. I'd like tripping over her and all that kind of stuff. So not a graceful experience out there. Very different than what I imagine Ines' runs are like. Scott says, I love meatballs, and that is the word of the day. I let that as the word of the day today because my daughter saw like I think it was on like the Today Show in the morning before school, and they were making meatballs, and my daughter goes, "Oh, I want to eat that for dinner." And my wife was there, and she goes, "Yeah, we can have that for dinner." And then my wife looked over at me, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm making meatballs now." So I just made some meatballs. I just rolled them. I didn't cook them yet. What the wrinkle that's going to happen is, I told you guys I'm going to try to do a lot of like the errands and stuff during the week, so that way weekends are more just like 100% fun time. And that means I have to go get their groceries today after the live stream, but I still want to make dinner. So we're going to have to figure that out. I might have to like leave my wife some instructions on how to cook these meatballs, but they're rolled, they're ready to go. And yeah, I won't eat any of them, but I'll get a lot of beans and some rice, and I'll get that, and that's what I'll eat. So yeah. All right. Brendan Fitness and Money says meatballs undoubtedly the most delicious shape of meat. I don't know. I don't know if they're the most delicious shape of meat. I mean, a lot of good meat comes in like sausage form, so like the more cylindrical kind of tube shape, I think maybe is also delicious. But I think it's all kind of like splitting hairs at this point. Yeah. So David Prabhu is telling us it's 83 degrees and hot in Nassau, Bahamas. Whew. I mean, that sounds. I mean, 71 in Florida sounds great. That Larry had the 83 and hot in Nassau. I mean, I'd love to be in Nassau, Bahamas right now, but 83 does. I mean, because I've been used to like 50-degree weather now, the 83 sounds pretty hot. Matt 852 says garden meatballs are the best. So we got another. We're gonna have to keep saying this. But yeah, so I won't eat any of the meatballs that I made, but in the grocery order that I'm gonna be picking up, my wife did order some vegan meatballs for me. I don't know if they're vegan or vegetarian. I don't know, but I'll eat that. So I think that's what we're gonna try. MCM says, "Hey Mike, you gotta try fenugreek seeds. They boost testosterone, and it's weird, but they make your sweat pits smell like maple syrup, which actually helps with run laundry." What? Is that a real comment? Is that for real, MCM? I've heard of fenugreek, but what kind of like what? It makes your sweat smell like maple syrup? That's weird. There's a disorder called maple syrup urine syndrome. That's marked by the fact that your urine smells and tastes or has like a sweet taste to it. It's a sign of it's a really serious disorder because it means your kidneys aren't working, functioning well. But sweat that smells like maple syrup. So then like if you wear that for a while, if you eat that for a while, then like when you have breakfast, are you like, smells like BO in here? Raymond says fenugreek stinks. Does it? I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see how that works. Chris Yao says, completely random item. Make and store a tray of ice cubes made from hot dog water to serve in the drinks of guests who annoy you. That's so funny. But wouldn't it get, I mean, isn't it cloudy? Wouldn't you be able to tell? I mean, then like it'd be greasy. Like you'd have like a greasy drink after a while. But that is really funny. Scott says, we call hot dogs tube steaks. Is that a thing? Oh, I don't know. Mark Rainey says, how large has everyone made their balls of meat? 1 inch? 4 inches like some restaurants? No, I make them small because the way that I like to have them is I like to make like mini Italian subs. I don't like to eat like I don't like to buy like hoagie rolls just because like I don't like to buy too many specialty kinds of breads. I like to have like regular bread, prefer to make it, but I buy regular bread, like sliced bread, and then like hot dog buns. Sometimes we'll have hamburger buns in the house. We don't normally have like, like the kind of rolls that you would use for like a hoagie or a banh mi or anything like that. So I normally make my meatballs small enough to fit into a hot dog bun. And then I make a couple, like a couple of those as sandwiches. So that's kind of the plan for today. So I've got some hot dog buns. I'm going to get some tomato sauce ready, get some cheese, put them on the balls of meat. So they're a little bit bigger than 1 inch because I figure they're going to shrink a little bit when they get cooked. That's a weird hand gesture that I'm making. I'm talking about balls of meat, but yeah, so there's that. But yeah, I've the giant ones, I'm just like, how do they cook them all the way through without the outside being super gross? Like, I don't understand that. Something weird going on. Brendan Fitnessman Money says, the fenugreek comment is real. Really? I don't, well, I mean, fenugreek? I think I'm going to, I mean, I'll read up on it a little bit, but so far I think I'm going to pass. Yeah. Today, drinking some Noon because I'm a little bit thirsty. I haven't been drinking a lot of water, I think, lately. And a little caffeine isn't going to hurt today, I think. Martha says, if you call them meat columns, are they Ionic, Corinthian, or Doric? That's funny. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can tell you the difference between those, to be honest. Yeah. Well, so MCM says they are real AF, and it changed my deodorant / odor game That's yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Sean says, "What did I just walk into?" I feel like you're not the only one thinking that. We just started out talking about balls of meat, and we're saying that a very specific way because it's the word of the day to say it the other way. So, yeah. And it says sugar puff cereal makes your pee smell. That's bad enough. Not sure about maple smelling pits. You know what's weird is, speaking of pee smell, is asparagus makes your pee smell, but it doesn't make anything else smell. Why is that? How does that happen? And how does a smell permeate? Like, how does this? I mean, I get it. Like, odor molecules are extremely small and they can pass through linings and membranes, but it just feels like at a certain point, it's been through my digestive system. It shouldn't smell like things anymore, right? It should smell like normal waste products smell. I don't know. It always kind of like boggles my mind that like certain foods, even after you've consumed them and digested them and your body's broken them down, can still like radiate from various ways that those biological processes can happen. I don't know. Random. This is a very random. This is a very typically unusual conversation for a day. But yeah. Oh man. Neat Penguin, what's going on? He says, "Hi guys, just tuned in. You guys are off to an interesting start, my kind of people." Yeah, I mean, I think you're either going to turn this right off or you're like, I'm going to stick around. I want to see where this is going. Yeah. Neat Penguin says, meatball sizes depend totally on what you're making them for. Yeah, but even then, like, does anyone really need the 4-inch meatball? I'd rather, because, you know, the thing is with the meatball, there's a texture component to it, right? So, like, it's not like you're eating a giant slice of, like, inner portion meatloaf. You know, there should be some texture. That's what makes it great. And so, like, you're minimizing the parts that are great. I don't know. Aaron De La Cruz says, when is the Bondi 7 review coming? I think I'm at about 55 miles or so in it. So it's still going to take probably another week. It's slowed down a little bit because I'm starting to do these other workouts and I don't want to do workouts in the Bondi. So that's kind of like slowing things down a bit. So it should be another week. I know I said I would have had it done by now, but I think I'm going to need another week. So that 100-mile review is coming. Toy Inspired Learning says, hey, what's your favorite winter running shoe? I'm eyeing the Asics Cumulus 22 GTX. I'm not familiar with that, but anything with GTX as a suffix to the name of the shoe, I'm kind of really automatically interested in. Ben Johnson posted some more pics of the Nike Peg Trail 2 Gore-Tex, and this one, it was like black and blue. It looked great. I thought that I preferred, like, there's a one that like looks all kind of like canvasy colored, or like a sail is the name that they color. I don't know if that's what the name of the color actually is, but it's like kind of that like weird, like kind of like beigey white color. I thought I'd like that more, but I don't know. I kind of like that black and blue one a little bit. The colors are a little bit more striking, but I think that one's probably going to be one of the better like winter running shoes for people that are primarily road runners. I'm hoping that the Torrent 2 gets a GTX version because I might pick up one of those. But I know that I think so. Hoka did a weird thing where I just pre-ordered. So yesterday at 3 a.m, they announced that you could now pre-order the Rocket X, which is not a winter shoe, but you could also at that time buy. There was one shoe, I forget what it was. Then the Challenger ATR 6, and the Challenger ATR 6 Gore-Tex. But I couldn't find it anywhere on the website. I did pre-order the Rocket X, but I didn't find the Challenger ATR 6 Gore-Tex. So I don't know what's going on with that shoe, but that's one that if you run like more really messy stuff or you're a lot more trails, then I think that might be one worth looking at too. So, so those are ones that are on kind of my radar. I think this year is a year that I might, I I might pick up one of the Saucony Peregrine is like their winter running trail shoe. It looks great, and I don't know if it comes in a Gore-Tex version or not, but it doesn't have to be Gore-Tex to be a winter shoe. But those are the ones that I normally kind of gravitate towards. All right. Raynor says, okay, so I think it's the ashwagandha that I think stinks, not fenugreek. Apologies to fenugreek. I mean, I've been taking the ashwagandha. It's in a lot of the Univet stuff that I've been taking. I did pause on some of the. Do you guys remember? I did an unboxing on, and I did a happy hour with it. They have this like pre-workout drink that I think had a lot of ashwagandha in it, and I paused on that, and they gave me some like recovery kind of capsules that I think also had a lot of ashwagandha in it, or ganda. Just because like whenever like my body's not right, like because like my knee's kind of weird, I always like stop doing everything that I'm taking. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a nice way to just reset. Mark Rainey says, from poo to pee, not too far of a swing for this group. Nope. It's still, I guess, on brand. Is that the right word for it? I don't know. Toy Inspired Learning. Let's take it back on track. Favorite winter running shoe. Come on, we can do it. But Martha says, where did it go? It just moved on me. How about matzo balls? That's a whole other subject of great debate. Delicious. I have not had a lot of very good ones in the Midwest. I will say that. But those I like to have giant. But I only usually have those at a restaurant, like at a diner. And so like, maybe, kind of like maybe like the draw is there and analogous to like the giant meatball that you get at an Italian restaurant. Sean Marshall says, theory, meatloaf is just a giant meatball. Debate. I mean, I'll go with that. It's not a meatball, it's a meatloaf. But like I think the difference is the size. And so it's kind of like, so it is and it isn't. It is a giant meatball, but it's in shape of a loaf pan. And the main difference being the amount of crust. So on a meatloaf, you only get like the top because that's the only part exposed to air. Depending on how you cook your meatballs, you might get a lot more crusty outside part, which I think that's always the most tasty. Super Smoltz is here. She said, hi, all been a while. Hope everyone's doing well. Not much running happening here. Long walks with the 2-year-old though. He likes to go out for an hour or 2 hours. That's amazing. That's great. And it's good to see you again. It has been a while. That's good to see that the 2-year-old likes to go out for such long walks. It seems like you got a distance runner on your hands there. I remember both of my kids, when they were at like that 2-year-old age, they loved the swing. I mean, the kids both still love the swing. But at that age when they were like little and can fit in like the little baby swing things, where it's basically like a bucket in a swing, and the legs stick out. They would both, like, just during the day, demand to be pushed on the swing, and they could easily each be in it for like an hour. Sometimes they would fall asleep in it, and I would just keep pushing them, because then if you stop swinging, they would wake up. So I'm like, once a baby sleeps, whatever you were doing to keep that baby sleeping, to get that baby to sleep, you just keep doing it. And so like we would just let the kids like sleep in the swing for a long time. But yeah, I miss those days. That was a lot of fun. What else we got here? Wow, T. Davis says, Kofuzi, asparagus canes mercaptan, same chemicals they use to add odor to natural gas. Does it really? That's funny. Oh, I didn't know that. Brent Steen, what's going on, Brent? Says, sources for music, Epidemic, Artlist, MusicBed, thank you. I use Epidemic Sound, and I've been using them for, I don't know, maybe about a year now. And it's easily like the best money I spend on the channel. It saves me so much time and so much like just concern and stress about like, where am I going to get music? Am I going to find music that like fits my kind of like the mood that I'm going for? I mean, I use a different song every day. And so I like, it just saves me probably in an average month probably saves me 5 hours a month. So worth it. And I mean, I keep thinking like, oh, I must have gone through all the good ones by now. And I'm going to be waiting for like only new releases. And so I might have some like not as great music that I'm not as excited about, but it's been a long time. I don't know if it's been quite a year or not, but it's been a long time. And I still have just like a long list of music that I'm just waiting to use. And so I'm pretty happy with it. At some point, I do think though that I might need to like double dip and use like another service as well, just to like widen the variety. But then I also, wonder like how big is the universe of people that are selling music or licensing music to be used in like YouTube videos? And the people that do it for Epidemic probably also do it for Artlist, So I don't know how like all that works, but I've been really happy with Epidemic for now. Chris Yao says the Cumulus 22 GTX sounds like a supermodel. It does. I think that some very weird things about Subaru are that the Outback is now giant. It just makes no sense to me how big the Outback is. The Impreza went from being like, how is this legal? Like street car, because it like came right off like the rally circuit, and like it's amazing that you've got a super powerful but little low to the ground boxer engine in this tiny little car, and it's amazing. And it went to like being like about as interesting as a Corolla. And then the Forester went from being like this quirky like crossover SUV before there was this categories crossover SUVs to being like about as interesting as the RAV4. So like I don't know what the heck happened to Subaru. They're probably selling like 3 times as many, but none of the models interest me anymore. I don't know. It's really disappointing to see what happened. To me, I mean, I do say that I love their commercials though, generally. Run Frankfurt, talking about winter shoes, says you should try the Pegasus Trail 2 GTX for your runs out there. It's awesome. I think you would like it. I think I'm going to like it too. And we just heard, my wife said, I think it was a final notice today. Not notice, but like they actually made an announcement today that CPS would be virtual for the second quarter as well. So there was a potential that they would go to some sort of hybrid model or in-person learning starting November, in which case we would have gone back to Chicago. But it looks like they're not going to do that. So we'll probably be here for some snowy stuff. So, yeah. So I think the Pegasus Trail 2 is going to be just what I need. So, yeah. Neat Penguin says Cumulus 22 GTX versus New Balance 880 GTX comparison. I like that. That's an interesting idea. I like that. All right. Super Small says kofta is essentially in a long meatball cooked on a stick. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely sounds delicious. And it says, as we are in autumn here, or fall, I'm having to get used to running with a head torch again. Tonight's trail was narrow in parts. Need to just get on with it. We get short days in these parts. Yeah, I bet you do. I've been kind of like pushing back the start of my run to avoid having to put on a headlamp because I just don't like running with it. Mine, for whatever reason, like, when I'm wearing a winter hat, it's not as bad. But when I'm wearing a baseball cap, it always sits kind of funny on like right on the part where like the baseball cap is, like the adjustable clasp part. And so it's always uncomfortable. I either have to put it right on it and then it feels like there's a lot of tension here, or in between, like, there's a little hole in the back of a hat. I have to put the lamp there. And then sometimes it like, moves around a lot and I'm like, oh, it's not good for my receding hairline. So I just don't like to wear the headlamp if I can avoid it. And I found that like, if I push it and don't start till 6:40 in the morning, I could still get, a little bit more than an hour run in. And, the first 20 minutes I can get by. That part of the road is usually like the least travel part in the first 20 minutes. So I kind of okay. And yeah, but now like the sunrise isn't till about 7:10, almost 7:15. So it's like, I'm just going to have to start, biting the bullet and get out at 6:30 and just put the headlamp on. Brendan Fitness Money says, how do you pronounce Hoka One One once and for all? The answer is it depends on when. So here's my understanding of the entire story of it. I think it started out as Hoka One, and then at some point, Hoka realized that most of their clientele was calling it Hoka One. So then they officially called it themselves Hoka One, saying let's stop fighting this uphill battle, and then run downhill, so to speak. But then after a while, they were like, no, we need to be Hoka, and we're going to be our own. We're going to do our thing, and so it's officially Hoka One. So it's Hoka One is the official way to say it, but the official way to say it has changed over time. But yeah, I remember Sage Canada used to have videos where he said it both ways, and then he's clarified it in a couple of interviews and podcasts and stuff too. I don't know if he's on podcasts, but I don't know. He's clarified it at a couple of different points. And then I've heard I think it was Ben Rosario said, gave me not me, but gave he was interviewed, or one of the NAZ Elite people was like, here's why it's confusing. I could remember, I could be wrong on that, but yeah, Christian says One. Mm-hmm. Super Small says coffee makes pee smell too. Does it? I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to my coffee smelling, my pee smelling like coffee, or having that whatever that coffee flavor is in it, that I just don't notice it. Going back to Hoka though, Sean Marshall said, "Do you guys need to see the new Hoka climbing shoe? Crazy looking." I don't think I saw that. Is it crazier than the 10.9? Because I mean, that at this point, I feel like then they're just trolling themselves. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Leon Wong says, I like the current official way to say Hoka One. It has that Hawaiian ring to it. That's what, yeah, I kind of like it that way too. And Jeff Elliott talking about the WRX STI. That was an amazingly fun car to drive. But yeah. Mark Rainey says, does YouTube have a ban if someone plays copyrighted music on their own instrument, like flute, guitar, piano, etc.? I don't think so. I don't think so either, because then it's considered, then it's a cover. And so, I think it's harder for the algorithm to find it. And then, because then it's the bots can't be applied to it, and it won't pick up the direct, exact waveform of the songs. But it's still technically a copyright infringement because it's a derivative work. But normally I don't think people get flagged if they are covering songs. Yeah, Martha says neither her or Leva detected a coffee-induced pee smell, and they have double espressos every morning. Yeah. Chris Dyke says, just finished some butter tarts and macadamia milk. I'm reminded how delicious these are. Underrated baked treat. You know what, Chris? I don't know what a butter tart is, and I don't know what macadamia milk is. Is that like oat milk, but or almond milk, but with macadamias? That sounds pretty rich and decadent. So that actually sounds nice. But a butter tart? I don't know what a butter tart is. Char Marshall says that the Hoka Climber looks like a Clifton Edge with a high boot upper. Oh, really? Interesting. So is that like a hiking shoe or a running shoe? Because I like a good mid-top or high-top running shoe, especially for the winter. That could be super fun. Yeah. Chris Yao says, Hoka One, the shoes are named after the Maori language phrase loosely meaning fly over the earth. I think that we did that as a trivia question one day. Yeah. But that's why it's what's their motto? We together we fly or something like that. I forget. I don't know what the tagline is for Hoka. Jennifer Herring says, a new sneaker brand will be called the Kofuzi. It's funny. I'd be a closer to a more accurate pronunciation of the words that I've Americanized. That's pretty funny. Frank Liller says, if you play Smoke on the Water, it almost always gets flagged, even if it's a cover. Really? That's funny. There's just maybe certain songs that like resonate more with the YouTube algorithm. All right. Yeah. Here's the hook thing. Time to fly. Time to fly. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Christine Booth says a butter tart is a Canadian classic. Oh, really? Ah. You know, I thought I was pretty well versed in Canadian foods, but apparently I'm not. Butter tart. I'm gonna have to look that up. Jeff Elliott says, I remember butter tarts from Len's song Steal My Sunshine. Otherwise, I'd never heard of them. Real? Oh, really? I can't place that lyric. Antar B says, what's the first thing you think of when you wake up and it's cold and dark AF, but you got to get a run in? I think about coffee. I think about drinking a lot of coffee and having a hot belly before I head out. And then I think about where are my hand warmers? So, yeah. Yeah, I'm already starting to get like a little bit of it. I'm not acclimated to like the colder weather yet. So like I still have that kind of like it's going to sting kind of like anticipation for when I go out for the run. I mean, I have to walk the dog before I run. So like I'll get kind of like a little taste of it beforehand. But like there's definitely a little bit of extra procrastination in my step these mornings before I like get out there for the run. And so like I'm drinking a little bit of extra coffee. I probably should eat something more. Like maybe I should have some toast with some like, you know, some hotter food, you know, with some like sun butter or almond butter, you know, that'd probably help too. Just to like a warm belly goes a long way. Yeah. Where did that go? Yeah. Sean Marshall says, I bet. Where's the coffee? That's pretty much it. But I mean, I think that where's the coffee when I wake up, no matter what the temperature is out there. Brent Steen says, I typically run in Asics, but recently bought the New Balance Beacon version 3 and loving them. I'm glad you are. It's one of those shoes that's still like on my kind of like to-do list for 2020. But I'm at like 60 miles and like 3 or 4 different pairs of shoes. And so I'd like to get those to 100, make you know, the longer or like the longer term, but not long term, but a longish term video about it. And then like I'll have cleared out a little bit of like the shoe closet, and then we'll pick up some more shoes. I mean, that being said, I did order another pair of shoes this morning. I bought the Rocket X, but you know what? According to the Hoka website, it's not going to ship till November 1st. I mean, I guess they're just like, no Olympics. So like, whatever, we don't need to really ship that shoe out before we're ready to do that. So like, you know, they're going to take their time, but man, I mean, this is a shoe that was supposed to come out in like June. And now it's not slated to come out till November. So really weird. Mark Rainey says, anyone put cocoa in their coffee to make a cheaper version of a mocha? I've done that before. I've also, what I will do is anytime my kids are finished with the Nutella, I will make a K-cup right into the Nutella container. That's pretty nice. It's a lot of sugar, let me tell you, but it's pretty fun. Oh, and Jeff Elliott says, and speaking of the 10-9, they make a 10-9 hiking boot. Wow. Let's see. Rada R. Bell says, what should I buy between a Carbon X and a Zoom Fly 3? That's a good question. I feel like the Zoom Fly 3 is more exciting of a shoe, but it's pretty heavy, and I did have some trouble running with it longer term. Now, that just might be me and my anatomy. If I felt like whenever I get a really thick React insole or midsole, it has a tendency to aggravate what feels like in my foot is a Morton's neuroma. So it feels like something's poking in the ball of my foot. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it happened to me, and it happens pretty regularly in that shoe. So I know it's the shoe that's doing it to me. The Carbon X, though, I mean, I ran a 50K in it. My first 50K I ran in the Carbon X, and it's a great shoe. But it's not as exciting, even though it's named Carbon X, I'm not feeling a ton of carbon when I run in that shoe. So it's not as like exciting, and it's a little bit stiffer. So it depends on what kind of ride you're looking for. But for me, it would be the Carbon X. But I think for a lot of people, assuming you're going to be using it for, longer racing or longer workouts, I probably pick the Zoom Fly 3. Let's see, Ben Barrasso, current favorite earbuds under $200, probably the Jabra Elite 75T. That's under $200, isn't it? I'm not sure. Because the AirPods Pro are not under $200. Powerbeats Pro are not under $200. I think the Jabra Elite 75T is $200. If it's not, then I'd say probably the Jabra Elite 65T, because then that is going to be definitely under $200 right now. But those are kind of like some of my top favorites. I've also been running recently in the Pamu Quiet, which I'm not a huge fan of things that are sold on like Indiegogo, but those earbuds are really good. And they're only like $95 or something like that. So like the price is just bonkers. So if you can live with like the weird Indiegogo-ness of it, it's a good earbud as well. Mark Forker says Polar Grit or Polar Vantage V2. I would say the Vantage V2 because it has a couple more things. But because the thing that I like most about it is it has like the music controls, which seems like, again, a little thing, but with winter coming, it's going to be more important because I don't have mittens on and not gloves. And so like it makes it, my earbuds, I can't control like volume or tracks. So like having that on the wrist is really nice. I don't know exactly what the price difference is between those, but I mean, that's not the only reason, but it's got it has all the other same sensors and features like hill splitter, compass, and stuff like that, and like the turn-by-turn navigation. So all that's pretty similar too. So like if you don't care about any of like the new diagnostic tests, like the leg recovery or the run test that gives you VO2 max, if you don't care about those, then go with the Polar Grit and save a couple bucks because that's also a really great watch. So it depends on that, but like, I don't know. I get distracted by whatever's newer, and the Vantage V2 is a little bit newer and geared a little bit more towards the kind of running that I do, whereas the Grit X is more targeted to like the trail runner adventurer type. So I don't know that there's a lot of differences between the two watches to make it like, well, one's clearly for like ultra distance runners and one's clearly for marathoners, but that's kind of how they break it down, and that's how I understand the two watches. Niklas Klingerman says, "Hey Kofuzi, what's your fuel of choice during long runs?" Someone asked me this on a comment on one of my gels videos before, and I like a mix, so I don't have a fuel of choice. But some of my favorites are the Unived ones with caffeine. All the ones without caffeine, though, are also, some of them are pretty tasty. I like the caramel and the vanilla sea salt. Those are also really good. So Unived's one that I like a lot. I also really like Huma Plus, the ones with chia seeds in them. That one, and it has caffeine. Like there's a strawberry lemonade. That's one of my favorites. I like Martin gels, and I like Roctane. There's a chocolate coconut. I like that one. And so they're all kind of good for different things. Like the Martin is good, but like I can't do a whole race of Martin gels. The flavor just gets really monotonous after a while. Even like after two, I just like, it's a lot of the same. I just feel like I'm eating like unflavored jelly, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's a great gel. The Roctane is solid. It tastes like you're eating candy, and it's pretty cheap. The Unived I like because it's a little bit more liquidy, and so you don't always have to have it with water. And then the chia one, the Huma chia one, is just tasty. I really like it, and it's got a lot of salt, so I like that. So I like the different ones for different reasons. Yeah, Matt Legrand says, as for the Grit X versus the Vantage V2, I really wish that the Grit X would get some of the V2 updates. The Grit X is only 5 months old. I draw the line at running updates. If I were Polar. Yeah. I think that they need to address that at some point. It seems like I haven't heard officially one way or the other, but it seems like they're not updating anything. Like the watch you buy is the watch you get. And I think that that's going to make some people mad. Well, it has made a lot of people mad, but I think that it's a potential issue. It's something they need to figure out a little bit better, because the Grit X is like 5 months old, and then you unveil a new watch. It seems like not a great way to treat your customers. There's a lot of people that are understandably upset, I would say. Matt852 says, I brought 20 Cliff Espresso, and it tastes like chewing tobacco. I'm getting through it, but it's been rough. I don't think I've had that before. Yeah, I think I've had mocha. Have I had that one? I'm not sure. Because the mocha one, wait, there's a coffee flavored one. I think I might have had that one. Martha says, is the Univet as liquidy as Huma? It's one thing I like about Huma. It's not sticky icky. Well, Univet is more liquid or less viscous than Huma. And it is very sticky. So it's like basically like having like a sugar syrup, and the one thing that I have a hard time with is I kind of wish it were, as much as I just said I like it because it's like drinking something, it's much like Science and Sport in terms of like thickness. And just like Science and Sport, whenever I open a Univet or I open a Science and Sport, I have to open it carefully, because otherwise I'll just like open it and it'll just like spill out as I'm opening it. So like I know they've been working on like the top, like how easy it is to tear. And I know it's a hard thing you have to balance between, this is something that's going to be in someone's pocket as they're running marathon pace or race pace, and you want it to be durable, but you also need it to be able to like quickly open it so it doesn't like explode. And so I'm having a hard time with it sometimes, especially when it gets to winter. It gets a lot harder. Sometimes I'm just like, it's a winter run. It's like 15 degrees out. I'm having a hard time opening this thing. Maybe I'll walk for 30 seconds and I'll take this gel and then I'll run again. So that's kind of how I treat it. Rain Runner says, I got some salted watermelon goose recently, and gross. Tastes like artificial melted candy. Yeah, I mean, it's a great sounding flavor. I like this. I like the sound of that. And Justin McClary says, I can't do anything other than fruit flavors for my gels. See, I like a mix. And these days I found that I like mine tasting more like candy bars, like chocolate. So I like coffee flavored ones. I like chocolate flavored ones. Those are the ones that like I'm gravitating towards most. But like the Science and Sport one that I like is like lemon, like a lemonade flavor, and I like a lemonade tropical or something like that. So I like that. And then the Huma ones taste like strawberry lemonade. It's almost carbonated in the way it like tingles as you eat it a little bit. So like I kind of like that one too. So like I like some fruit flavors, but I gravitate towards things that taste like food. I mean, that being said, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I don't know. Would you guys eat a bean burrito flavored gel? Yeah, because Christy was saying someone should make a butter tart gel. Like they make those packets that you can have that have like nut butters inside, or they make the ones that are like the kids' applesauce, how it comes in a pouch, and they'll have like an oatmeal kind of fruit puree in there. Would you want one that tasted like real food? I'd be really interested. Like if I could get bean burrito, I think I would go for that, because bean burritos have fueled a lot of my running. So like that's not like an unusual like kind of like burp to have, I don't know. Not that that's like a great gauge. Look at these answers. No, heck no. No, thank you. No way. Oh, that's so funny. Funny. That's so funny. Yeah, Matt A52 says, hell yeah, though. Bean burrito gel would be my go-to. I mean, there's a lot of potential too, because then like with the packaging, you can make it look like you're eating a burrito. I don't know. I don't That's funny. Hydrate Brew says pizza gel. Yeah, like pizza gel. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Or like macaroni and cheese. I mean, what would you want? What would you want for a savory gel? Oh man. Yeah, Martha says I'd go for a savory gel if it's delicious and really tastes like what it's called. Yeah. Justin McClary says, have you ever taken random food given to you during any long races? What's the craziest? No, I mean, I haven't done any in-person like ultra distance races or like long trail races, which is where I feel like that's where that happens. When I did Ragnar and the Tetons, when you got to the top of the mountain there was an aid station and there was like pretzels and gummy bears and Skittles and like just candy and snacks and stuff. So that wasn't too crazy. But I forget what year it was. I think it was 2018 Chicago Marathon, where I was running through Pilsen, and I swore that there was a guy giving out tamales, and I happened to be on the other side of the street as him, and I was like, oh, but I love tamales. And I was really disappointed that I didn't, like a mile later, I was like, I should have turned around and got the tamales. And then after I finished the race, I was like, did you guys see the tamale guy? Did anyone get any tamales from the tamale guy? And everyone's like, no, but I got a banana from a guy giving out bananas. And so I think I hallucinated that there was a guy, or just saw incorrectly that there was a guy giving out tamales. And I was like, I would love to eat tamale. Like a tamale flavored gel, I think would be good. Martha says, by the way, that pizza gel is probably already a space food. Oh, that's where I should look. But what I did see that wasn't a hallucination and what wasn't something that I like missaw was there was a lady that came out with like a box, like those little boxes that like a case of sodas will come in, like they're like this high, like a couple inches tall, and they're like wide, like almost like a tray. And in that like cardboard box tray, she had like 30 different little baggies, like plastic baggies filled with different colored liquid. And I don't know what that liquid was. And I was like, I bet you I was like, oh, I wonder if there's tequila in there. But someone I talked to after the race was like, no, it's just like kind of like a Mexican Kool-Aid or something like that. That people knew exactly what it was, because she was like yelling out what it was called. I forget what it was called. But like, that's something also that I wish I had done. I've heard that there is, I forget what part, I think it's like after Chinatown, there's a bridge you go under, and there's always a couple of dudes giving out beers under this bridge, like after you pass the White Sox stadium. And I heard that this year they were giving out shots of Malort, which I think would be pretty, that's a pretty weird thing to have during a race, but a very Chicago thing to have. Yeah. Frank Wheeler says Justin's peanut butter packets are awesome. I see those all over the place. Yeah. Hydrate Brew says, oh wow, space food. Never thought of that. Yeah, we should look at that. Agua fresca. Maybe was that what it was? I don't know. It could have been. But yeah, everyone else was like, oh yeah, that? No, there wasn't tequila in that. That was just like a drink. But like people had to like tear open like the corner of the bag and like squeeze it in. But everyone seemed to know what to do with them. Yeah. Jeff Elliott says, I could eat mashed beans that were a little spicy. Yeah, man, I guess you could just put bean puree inside like one of those pouches. I mean, they make refillable ones. I've seen a lot of people that run ultra races like are using those. And I mean, I know about those pouches, not because I run ultra races, because I've never needed to have anything like that. I've not run anything long enough. But when I was making a lot of baby food, I was like, oh, there's got to be a way that I could put this in a easier to like a more convenient container. I never went that whole like, buy the set, buy the reusable bags and all that. But, it's a direction I wish I would have liked to have explored. But then by the time like I really got to that, my kids like don't really like those packets all that much. So it's kind of past. Martha says, I could eat baked potatoes or yams on a run. Yeah, I think Courtney Dalter was talking about on her Colorado Trail run that she brought a lot of mashed potatoes along. So I think, yeah, I think that could definitely work. Martha says, space food for a Monday mukbang. I just got a delivery today. UPS guy just came of a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to use for Monday mukbangs. But space food, we're going to have to find it. I mean, here's the other thing that I hope I don't have to go on is, if things go really upside down and sideways, I might do like an emergency rations, like bunker food kind of Monday mukbang in a weird kind of sadistic kind of way. But hopefully I won't need to do that. But, we'll see. Chris Yatt says, what watch company will make first device that injects gel nutrition into the veins via a wrist needle located beside the heart rate scanner? Yeah, I don't know about that. That would be kind of weird. I don't know if I would want that. That's a lot. Sean Marshall said, if I've never had a gel, what should be my first ever? I think that you should go with a goo, because I feel like goos are probably the most common to have, and I think give you like a good sense of like where it's like a good like introduction, I think, to the genre. I'm not saying that they're the best, but I think a goo will go in there, and they make a million flavors. So find one that kind of like, I'd say pick one that's kind of like in the dessert category, and pick one that's in like the fruit category. Think like Gatorade type flavors. Say pick some of those, and then kind of like go for it. A running store, if you're comfortable going to one, is a great place to go and be like, I'll just grab like one of this, one of that, and then try them. But yeah. enjoy. The first time you have one, it's always like, oh, these are kind of weird. Yeah. Danny J says Amazon probably has space food. That's what I'm thinking. Justin McCleary says, I used to run to a snow cone stand in the summers. It was great. That sounds amazing. When I think of snow cone stands, though, there's a little piece of Velcro on this cable down here, and it caught my sock. When I think of a snow cone stand, though, I'm thinking about like running to the banana stand in Arrested Development. And I hope that the snow cone stand looked like that. In my imagination, it does. Jeff, it's a cinnamon through a blender. That would be, I would really like to eat, if I ran a cold ultra, that's exactly what I would want during a night stop. But here's the thing. Ramen noodles are not that filling or nutritionally dense at all. And so like it would be nice to have a hot beverage in the belly, but or like a hot food in the belly. But I find that if I eat a lot of ramen noodles, it affects my training, because I just feel like, your body thinks that you've eaten, but there's just nothing to it. Not other than there's a lot of salt. So there's that going for it. So I'm not sure that I would love it during a race, but maybe if you could put some of it in like one of those Campbell's like soup to go cups and I could run and sip on it, that'd be fun. I don't know. Because I've never run a race like that, and I don't like running at night. So like, hopefully, I don't know. I don't know that like a night race or a race that takes that long, where I might have to think about putting cinnamon in a Campbell's to go cup. Hopefully that doesn't happen in my future. But now that I said that, I feel like I kind of have to. What? Oh, check this out. Justin Park says they serve rice and soup and kimchi in Korean ultras. Can you imagine that? What? Well, I suppose it'd be weird if you like went to a Korean ultra and they were like, hey, like we got like chili and like, and bean burritos. I suppose that would be weird, but I don't know. Well, that'd be kind of cool. I didn't real. I mean, I suppose. I mean, it makes sense. There's no reason why it wouldn't exist, but it just never occurred to me that there's ultra marathons in Korea. But that sounds like a fun adventure that I want to investigate. I like this idea. It's like a weird mile. It would be like a weird mile series and an ultra marathon all in one. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. All right, I gotta get going, guys. I've been having such a good time here. I totally forgot that I kind of have to make sure I get dinner started to go with the meatballs. I gotta get one more with the meatballs for dinner, and then I gotta go. I don't know if any of the kids are coming with me. We're trying Walmart today. We normally do High B, where we do the Walmart curbside pickup for groceries. So we'll see how that goes. But just some stuff I got to get sorted. So I got to get going. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I had a lot of fun talking about poop and pee and weird foods to put in a gel packet. I mean, what a great way. I mean, this is a great Friday episode. I got to say, I had so much fun. I hope you guys had fun too. Tomorrow's video is going to be about Insta360 accessory that I kind of love and also have a lot of improvements that I think need to go on it. So that'll be tomorrow, but then we'll do another live stream, 3 p.m., same place, same time. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everyone, and enjoy your long runs tomorrow.